Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. You guys, I am so excited because I got permission from one of my current coaching clients to leak our latest coaching call. And this is so exciting for me because I've never done this before. But you guys, this client is a walking, talking billboard for the transformation that I can provide to you. So if you've been on the fence about reaching out to me, about accessing my services, whether it be our group coaching program or my one-on-one coaching program, you will likely listen to this and you will be convinced that this is what you need in 2026. So I I have it called like the leaked coaching program, but I want you guys to understand, like I have full permission to leak this to you. Molly has given me permission. This is not like leaked against her will, but I have just felt, we both have just felt so strongly that like people need to know about the transformation that you are capable of helping us with. And so, yeah, we're leaking this and making it a live podcast episode because I want you guys to hear like what coaching with me looks and feels like and sounds like. So, all right, without further ado, let's just dive in. Molly, I have Molly Talman with me today.
Hi.
We are in week 7 of our
Oh,
coaching, which is wild. We're
so
halfway
crazy.
through. Yeah. So let's just dive right in. What I
Yeah.
typically do halfway through around like week 6 and 7 is I like to do a check in with you. So we'll review your goals. We'll talk about like where do you feel you're at with these areas. Let's talk about wins you've had lately. Let's talk about maybe expectations you feel you've met or exceeded. And then where you hope to go moving forward with the last six
Yeah.
weeks together. So
Yeah.
let's just first and foremost start with kind of like we're halfway through. Tell me how you've been feeling lately with your goals and with everything you've been working towards.
Yeah. So I feel really, really good of where I'm at. And I know we do a lot of talking to stuff outside of just our one-on-one calls, but
Yeah.
I know we've been like touching on just the feeling. Like I feel so much different now. I feel so much more clear. I know when we first started working together, um, I had ideas of where I wanted things to go and like these big goals, but they felt super unattainable. They felt so far out of reach, Steph. And now that we're like, I can't even believe it's only been 6 weeks. Like we're only halfway through, in that just the way I feel and what we have accomplished and what we have manifested and the things, and I'm assuming we'll get into it, but even the things that you've challenged me with and thinking, I mean, I think that's the biggest piece. I just can't believe where I'm at. And if you would have told me 6 weeks ago when we started, like that this is how I would feel and where I would be at halfway through, I don't know that I would have, I know at that point I wouldn't have believed it yet.
Yeah. Isn't it so
So,
wild that like
yeah.
even hearing you say 6 weeks ago you were challenging me to think things that I did not actually believe were capable. And now here you are like, isn't it wild that that doubt has almost completely gone out the window?
Yeah.
I think that's wild to me, even. Like,
Yeah.
I do this work for a living and I still get goosebumps when I have a client tell me, like, I can't believe it just goes to show, like, you can overcome these limiting beliefs and you
Yeah.
can show up as a completely different version of yourself in that short
Yeah.
of time.
And even too, Steph, like I know at the beginning we talked a lot about like my ego and how that
Mhm.
gets in the way and how I'm feeling that. And I know, especially when we first started, I would message you outside again of our coaching calls. Like we spoke
Yeah.
a lot. I think that has been so valuable too. Like that's my favorite part of all of this is
Yeah.
having access, like chatting with you in my real day-to-day life as things come up and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this. We talked about this on the call. I'm feeling it
Yeah.
right now. And you provide, redirection or like look at it this way or like this is your ego. And I can even tell, and I bring that up, Steph, just because even halfway through now, I feel the
Yeah.
ego less. Or when maybe not less, I still feel her and she
Yeah.
comes up a lot still, but I have like the tools and like just knowing like what would Steph say in this situation or like we're not even going to give
Yeah.
that focus because I've learned that now and have those tools to even like that's a big shift too that I've felt.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, I forgot about that piece of it. And
Yeah.
we should talk or at least allude to the fact that, like, I tell all my coaching clients, like, reach out to me between calls. Like, there is no reason. Don't ever feel like you're bugging me.
Yeah.
And all coaches say that. I mean, every
Yeah.
coach I've ever worked with has said, like, you have access to me between calls. But the people like we have those limiting beliefs thinking like, "Oh, I don't wanna bug them," or "They've got better things to do,"
Yeah.
or "I can work through this on my own," but you actually utilizing me in that way and let's be honest,
Yeah.
Molly and I have become really good friends, you guys, like, she's one of my best friends now, but as I was doing um my like chat GPT wrapped for the year. I was like making this content for social media and I was kind of like going over my year and I went over every coaching call or every coaching client I had for the year. And I'm like, they've all become friends. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a coaching client who did not become a pretty close friend of mine. And so,
Yeah.
yes, Molly and I talk daily despite being a coaching client of mine, but I would say that's also to her benefit that
Yeah.
she has me as a friend and a coach because she utilizes me in real time every
All the
single
time. You
day.
poor thing. And
Yeah,
Steph, when we
no.
started too, we weren't like, I mean, I
Mm,
you would consider you my friend, but
yeah,
not I mean, we had just met a
yeah,
few weeks before I signed up for your coaching stuff. And so,
literally.
yeah, but I think the work really happens too outside of like the calls are great. I love the calls and it's a
Right.
great touch point, but sometimes you don't feel some of those things until you're in the like, outside of the world. You're getting ready, you're making supper or and
Yes.
I think I felt this bleed too, stuff into like so when you asked how I'm feeling too, not only about in business, but like my personal life too.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of these same thoughts and limiting beliefs or like I call them negative thoughts or like
yeah,
but it's just a different situation, but I still apply it the same
right.
tools that way too.
Absolutely. No, I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. We're in like
Yeah.
the cold and flu season right now here in the Midwest. And so everybody like I feel like we all kind of get in our head with that like negative mindset about like, oh, I'm getting sick or this is happening. And I'm instantly
Yeah.
reminding myself in those moments, like, nope, my body's healing. Like I only want healing thoughts. Not that like
Yeah.
that's gonna completely get rid of the sickness, but it's like I want to embrace healing thoughts. I don't want to get in my head thinking I am sick. It's
Yeah.
just
Seriously.
those moments, those real moments, or like, yeah, like over the weekend when you hurt yourself. And like that could easily be a moment for you to go within and be like, oh my God, WTF is wrong with you? What the hell were you
Yeah.
thinking? You can get so hard on
Yeah.
yourself in those
Yeah.
moments. That's when
Yeah.
you need that reminder from somebody like, no, it's fine. These things happen to all of us. You're gonna overcome this,
Yeah. Yeah.
real
We'll
life.
see how that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah, for real, that's life happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I just think
Yeah.
it's good to acknowledge that, like, I think specifically for you, a bulk of the growth that you experienced did happen outside of our coaching calls
Yeah.
when we were talking in real life through, like, I'm gonna be honest with our listeners, like, Molly has been on the verge of putting a proposal out there to a new client. And we're talking like this is a pretty big deal. Like, it's a client that she did not see coming. Definitely did not have on her bingo card for 2026. It totally took her by surprise. And on top of all of that, it's going to grow her, it's going to expand her, it's going to get her to
Yeah.
see she's capable of more than she and maybe initially thought. And so this has been a little bit of a scary proposal, which is why she's been needing me between another reason she's been
Yeah.
accessing me between calls is because like the proposal didn't happen during our last coaching call. So there
No.
was no way for us to work on it in that time, but it happened the days following. And so I needed to be available for you to like
Yeah.
talk you through
That's
like
awesome.
do not sell yourself short. Absolutely do not bring your prices down. You own your worth. You own your price. Like you needed that
Yeah.
little bit of like cheerleader cheering you on through that journey, but it wasn't during a
Gosh, yeah.
coaching call.
And you know what, too, Steph, even before this part of it, remember too, you would walk me through. I had been debating for months about disengaging too
Yeah.
with an
Yeah.
unaligned client.
Yeah.
And we worked a lot on that as well in making the decision to disengage, which I think as business owners, we know is scary. It's hard. It's the
So
first time
scary.
I've come across that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like, we really drilled down on my ideal client and this
Yeah.
just wasn't it, and it was so powerful too. You walked me through this, I remember, because we weren't on a coaching call, but I
Right.
sent my disengagement letter, and it was fine. The client received it beautifully. It wasn't, they needed a little bit more support than I wanted to give at that point too. So it
Yeah.
was perfect. But I didn't know that until I sent the email. And then, oh gosh, what was it, Steph? The very next day I had an
Yeah.
aligned inquiry come in. Like
Yeah.
it and everybody says that, like when
Yeah.
you close a door, whatever the saying is, but and you always say it's like this or something better. It's this or something
Yes.
better. And like it's scary to let go of a client.
It is.
That was hard. And I know we have to work
Yeah.
through that, but that piece of it was huge too. We worked through that a lot. We spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
And you said, Steph, you said like, this is how it would work. And
Yep.
I don't know.
The
I've paid for the
power.
coaching and I'm putting in the work. Yeah. And of
Yeah.
just also having that blind faith, I think I wouldn't have had blind faith 6 weeks ago, but
Right.
now.
Right.
So I think that's a huge piece too
Yeah, I
that I feel.
agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. And I think people expanders like tell us all the time, they give us this advice, and until you actually live it, then it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, holy shit, this actually does work," and it's true, and now you
Yeah.
have that proof moving forward. What are
Yeah.
some other wins that you've been experiencing so far in the 6 weeks?
Yeah, so wins with that, let me think. So those are some of the biggest ones, and they're up and on the forefront of my mind because 'cause they're all just happening real
Naturally.
time as we record this. Yeah, but
Yeah.
even as like, since we began working together too, Steph, I have gained a mentor that I just connected
Yes!
with naturally online. Yes,
Right.
and she is the type of she's the mentor who's doing something I want to do. We clicked and I asked her, and again, this I think is, just having more confidence and ego stepping aside, and I just asked her, would you mentor me? This was the first time I met her. We had a coffee chat. It went great, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I want to do what you're doing. Would you be willing and open to mentoring me? And she did. And she was all on board. And now this is a big win for me. I'm excited about it. I wanted a mentor. I
Yeah.
wanted somebody in this space. And it's just crazy the synchronicity and the alignment because she also wanted to put something like this out. She wanted to coach other accountants and bookkeepers. And so she's creating a course and I'm her beta and getting to work through this with her and we're creating it kind of together and it's
So
super
cool.
cool and it is so cool and it's leading me to have another offer, Steph, in my
Yeah.
business as we move forward too into the next 6
Yeah.
weeks. But
That's a
that
good
was
point.
also something I don't know when I met with her, it was after you and I had started coaching and
Yep.
having, these and I might have even expressed to you in one of our first calls, Steph, of like, I want to add this type of service. I
Yeah.
want to do this. I just don't know the how yet. So
Right.
that was even a conversation. I think that's a big win too that I don't forget it, but that
Yeah.
has happened in these 6 weeks as well.
I
So,
agree. Yeah, I think, like, you were just dabbling with the idea of, like, do I or
yeah.
don't I add CFO services to my list of
Yeah.
offerings? And there was still definitely those limiting beliefs of, like, am I even capable? Like, who's gonna want
Yeah.
this? Like, what am I gonna price it at? Am I capable
Yeah.
slash worthy of that pricing? Like, all of that was probably coming to the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure. Absolutely
now
was.
there's no doubt about it though. It's like,
No.
of course I'm gonna offer this, and of course people want it, and it's
Yeah, and
amazing.
we've let's see, what other wins? It's just there's so many. It's super
Yeah, and
exciting, and
I also wanna point out too, like, the power of just asking. We get in our heads thinking like, "Oh my god, do I wanna ask this person, this highly
yeah,
successful expander?" It can be so scary to put the ask out there, but it's always like, "Well, what's the worst thing is they're
right.
just saying no." Like,
Say
so
no.
it's fine. I can handle a no. But
Yeah.
had you not even put that ask out there, you would not be where you're at today.
No.
It's
No, and
wild.
the other one too, Steph, we spent quite a bit of time too and work on, like, nailing down my ideal client.
Yes.
And this is still a work in progress, but as far as,
Which
like,
you
I've
should.
got that nailed down, but, like, as far as
Yeah.
even, like, the marketing piece of it and, like,
Yeah.
we've really dove into that too. Like, it's
Yeah.
when we sit here and talk about what we've dove into in 6
Right.
weeks, it's wild to me. It's crazy. Like, now that we're, like, listing it out and looking at my notes, I'm like, "Holy
Yeah.
cow, we've gotten through a lot." And
Yeah.
it's all built too, Steph. All of it has built on each
Absolutely.
other and having those foundations, so
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think in the beginning you were kind of in a place of like, well, I'll just take whoever, like whoever is a
Yeah.
small business owner, I'll take them on, and even like the
Yeah.
nonprofit sector, like I'll take whoever is willing to pay me type of thing. But now you're
Yeah.
really niching down, and you're like, this is what this is what will get me excited to get out of bed every day. This is what will get me excited to start a new week in the business
Yeah.
each week, and you're starting to see how expansive it can feel to really niche down and go
Yeah.
more specific about who you wanna work with. And
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
there's
that's been
sometimes
huge.
surprises with that too. You're experiencing that now, like, I think
Yeah.
sometimes we know, but then we'll have surprises that will come and like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't think this was somebody I'd work with, but I'm dabbling in it and I'm actually really
Yeah, and I
freaking
enjoy it.
loving it." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. No, you're totally right. And again, if we hadn't done some of that, like I think about if these opportunities were presented to me, like without going through this coaching stuff, I don't know that I would have handled them or navigated them quite as well. Cause also, right in that same time period stuff, there was an inquiry. You're so right. I
Yeah.
forgot about this too. That I did have conversations and meetings with somebody who I almost took just from like a lack
Yeah.
mindset. And,
Yes.
we talked through that again too at length of like,
Mhm.
no, this doesn't and not that I can't stuff, it's always my decision ultimately,
Right.
but, like, just having those, like and again, this wasn't during a coaching call, it was offline of like, okay, here are some of these things, but like it doesn't align. It doesn't feel right. But like my ego
Right.
and lack mindset is like, no, take the client while it's here. Whereas that's not in alignment with what we're working on together in my mindset. So that was
Yeah.
a good like testament to that too, because I did turn that one down
Yep.
and
Yep.
maybe wouldn't have. I know I wouldn't have prior
Right.
to this.
Right. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest transformations from the outside looking in that I see in you is like you very much were functioning from a place of lack mindset,
Yeah.
financially, client wise. Like, are there enough people out there? Can I make enough money? Is it fair to raise my prices? Like, there was so much lack mindset that you, like, that was your norm.
Yeah.
You didn't know any
Yeah.
different until it was pointed out to you. And that was
Yeah.
eye-opening to me, and even, like, when I sit and I think about, like, content I wanna make, like, I can speak to lack mindset all the time, but you don't know what you don't know, so, like, people who live in lack mindset don't necessarily know that that's what they're functioning from, like, they
Right.
don't know when I say lack mindset, what that looks and feels like until an outside person points out,
Yeah.
like, you having these thoughts, that's you seeing lack in your life. And then
Yeah.
you've had that pointed out to you, and it's like, "Oh, wow, yeah, she's right," and then you start to see more abundance, and it's
Yeah.
wild.
And the questions too, stuff that you've asked me, this happened right from the first day we met. Of just
Yeah.
they were questions I hadn't been asked or that I've asked
Mhm.
myself. And like you said, you don't know what you don't know, but you asked
Yeah,
them so like I'm trying to think of the right word. Non-judge me,
yeah,
non-judgy,
yeah.
very safe, but very real
Mhm.
questions that as a business owner and somebody trying to accomplish these goals, like they needed to be asked. And I wouldn't have known to ask them of myself either. So
Yeah.
and when I when I'd give you, like, my rebuttals of, like, "Oh, it won't work because of this," you were like, "Why?" Like,
Mhm.
"Let's tap into that." I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" Like, "Why?"
Yeah,
So that's a
yeah,
big change too, Steph, because I will find myself asking those questions too, like, of my own when I feel those thoughts. Like, yes, I message you, but, like, I think as this has gone on too, just even being more confident of, like, flipping some of those questions and
yeah.
challenging myself too.
Yeah, and I do wanna also point out, you it's so funny, you guys, because as Molly and I become closer and closer as friends, so, like, I have gone to her with some of my personal life shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
Yeah,
call
like,
it.
we all have
Some
it,
hard
yeah.
stuff that's been going on in my life, and it's so wild how Molly will, like, turn on her coaching switch, and all of a sudden she'll be, like, asking me a coaching question that I was
Yeah.
formerly asking her, and it's like, "WTF?" Like, who is the coach right now? Like, it's so wild, you guys. She has
It's really cool.
adopted this mindset. It's so cool,
Yeah,
and
and you
I'll
get to
literally
practice it all
yeah,
over,
you
yeah.
are practicing it, and I literally sit in my house when she, like, will challenge me, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, I don't know, like, this is so wild." The Molly from 6 weeks ago, I don't
Woulda
know if
never,
she would
yeah.
have been able to coach me like this. This is so
No.
wild to me.
Or mirror it back in that way. No. And
Yeah, it's
I
so
yeah, it's
crazy.
wild stuff. And I know
Yeah,
I've told you, like, manifestation and mindset coaching was not on my 2025 bingo
no.
card. Like,
Mm,
if you would have told me this a year ago that this is what I would be doing, I wouldn't have
yeah,
believed you. And now I'm like, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. Like, but
yeah.
we're doing it
You
now.
were saying
It's
that
cool.
literally from
Yeah.
week 1 after Powerhouse, you were
Yeah.
using that exact same sentence of, like, "This
Yeah.
was not on my bingo card, you
It
guys.
wasn't.
This
I was,
was
like,
not."
laughing at myself. I was laughing at myself. I was like and, I was telling Chris, my husband, I'm like, I'm gonna hire" he was like, "Yeah, I think you should do it." And I'm like, "Oh my
Oh,
god," but, like, this is so, like, not anything I just didn't know stuff. I just didn't
yeah.
know. So,
Well, full
it's really
transparency, it
fun and
was
cool too.
I appreciate you saying that, but full transparency,
Yeah.
like, it was scary for me to, like, after we met at Powerhouse
Yeah.
to then, like, come to you and be like, "Okay, I know you said this, but did you mean it, and do
Yeah.
you want it?" Like, that was the first time I
Yeah.
had ever had to do that, and so that was also scary for me, but because I didn't wanna
Yeah.
ruin this potential friendship either.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad. So
Awesome. So,
glad.
like, slightly switching gears here, I mean, you've been implementing things from week to week to help, like, slowly move the needle forward, which slowly is not the right word to use. Like, you've been
Yeah.
moving the needle forward in a huge way. But the last week that we met, some of the big, like, tasks that I had put on you, correct me if I'm wrong, was continuing to do, like, that guided visualization slash meditation, but also what was the other let me pull up the note. I know that was
Yeah.
the content pillars was 2 weeks ago, and
Yep. No, we really honed in, I think, last week on content in around, like I mentioned, like with my CFO services and getting that
okay,
into, Instagram, speaking on it, putting it in my threads. I was supposed to write up and I actually did some of this. I haven't been the best, Steph obviously knows, but I haven't been the best always week to week on some of the homework.
It's fine.
But yeah, I had written a like, I got my flow desk up, stuff,
Yeah.
and created a wait list, and
Yep.
I did get that sent out since our last call for some of my CFO services, and, like, I have things moving on that end of it, and so
Wow.
I'm glad you brought that's a good point too, Steph, of, like,
Yeah.
moving the needle type actions and goals too, of, like, having that accountability too of, like, okay I mean, obviously, I wanna do it, but you totally get it as a mom,
Mhm.
business owner of, like, you have these things that need to be done, and sometimes just even having that little bit of, like, accountability or push too of, like I mean, we know it's important, but sometimes still
Yeah.
just having that, like, "Hey, make sure you're doing this," has been
Right.
really helpful too on some of this because I could absolutely push some of it off.
Right.
So that was
No,
a
I
big
get
piece
it.
of it too
How's it been
from
feeling
last week.
showing up more on social media?
Well, it was hard at first, it's kinda scary, and
Yeah,
now it's
it
gotten to
is.
be yeah, I too since I did a hot seat, like, mastermind with a group of women in a virtual event that I'm in about threads, and that was
Okay.
really cool and really
Yeah.
fun, and chatting about that and getting it was really good practice too to talk about my new service and,
Amazing.
showing up like this on video stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's been a challenge, but it's going, and now, yeah, I've kinda taken a week off here
Yep.
but
So
need to
you
get back into
really
it. This is a good example of, like, now I've
yeah,
had my call and it's, like, back in the right
yeah.
headspace of, like, get back on there. Actually, I'm gonna do that right after we're done.
So you're really, like,
I'll do it, coach.
strengthening that muscle of, like, being seen.
Yeah.
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 How did it
That's a
feel
good way to
kind
put
of
it.
like doing your elevator pitch when you were talking to this group about threads? Like, how did that feel?
It was a little uncomfortable, to be
The
honest,
first
Steph,
couple
but I
times
just
it
haven't
is.
done it. Yeah, and now I know though, especially of, like, doing this of just now I think of these things, stuff as, like, practice and
Yeah.
just getting stronger at it
Yep.
and being more prepared. I know and I've thought of this too because so we met obviously at Powerhouse, and I
Yeah.
remember being in that room and it's full of awesome women who are very
Yeah.
I remember thinking I was telling Chris, my husband, this about, like, just how confident everybody was and how
Yeah.
cool that was and how it really reflected in me on how not confident I felt.
Mhm.
We signed up for Powerhouse, we're going again this year, so I'm
Yeah.
so excited, and I'm so excited to, like, show up in that room, Steph,
Yeah.
feeling this way, feeling better, and I know doing, like, my threads thingy, like, virtual thing, I just know that this is, like you just said, like a muscle that has to be
Yeah.
practiced, so it didn't feel great, but I am very aware and know that it's not going to, probably
Right.
for a little bit, and it just it's helpful because now I know, okay, like, I can say this differently, or I don't like that I said that, or
Yep.
whatever, so
No, I totally get that. It
but
is scary the first few times. Even, like,
yeah.
sometimes I'll still catch myself in certain networking opportunities where I wanna use the word like, "Oh, I'm just a mental health therapist." It's like, "No, not
Yeah.
just. You
Just.
are, and you own that shit." Like,
Yeah. And Steph,
why
I don't
not
even think I told
just.
you too. I have been asked on 2 other podcasts. So, like, even this is, like, a cool yeah. I
Cool.
don't even think I shared that with you yet, but this is just
Amazing.
a good yeah, of, like, just practicing that muscle and being seen.
That's a
So,
huge those are 2 huge wins. That's freaking
it's really
amazing.
cool. I forgot, I didn't even tell you
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Are
So,
you, like, sweating just thinking about that?
yeah, I am. Like, I might need to open the window.
Yeah, that's real, like yeah, the first probably 5 episodes that I recorded, I remember sitting here just, like, feeling, like, drenched in sweat, like,
I know.
"Can I do
I feel
this?"
that. I texted you today that I was, like,
Yeah.
sweating.
Yep, that's real life. Nobody
Yeah.
like, the first few everybody feels that way. Nobody's, like
But how
I mean,
cool.
I feel like very few people are, like, super confident the first few times they are on a podcast, so
Good.
it's fair.
Well, we're practicing. We're
It is,
strengthening that.
exactly, you really are. That's amazing,
Yeah.
okay, I'm glad you shared that.
So yeah.
Um, so we are now transitioning into our last 6 weeks together. And when I look at your goals of what we've really or what you like really wanted to focus on initially with me, I mean, your
Stop.
overarching goal for the 12 weeks in simple terms was just to gain clarity on career/business goals. That's super, super generalized. There's a lot of like, that's the
Yeah.
umbrella, but there's a lot of, like, subtopics under that that you wanted to focus on, like personal growth, fun/leisure, work on your self-image,
Oh God,
among
that's right.
other things. But,
Yeah.
I mean, how would you say you're feeling in terms of clarity on your business, clarity on your career? How are you feeling in that area just in general?
Feel really good. And we've chatted about this too outside
Yeah, yeah.
of all of it. But I'm so excited, Steph. I am so excited. I am super clear on where I'm headed.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I know we keep like we're doing this midweek check-in or midpoint check-in, and it's just I almost get emotional stuff because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not how I know how I felt when we started, and I don't. I mean, there's still some of that, but it's changed, and it's the like the ego or the doubt I feel now is for a completely different reason, and it's so
Right.
exciting and it's so fun, and I feel great. I'm so excited about where
Mhm.
I'm going. I'm very clear
Well,
on where I'm going. The path is already, and it feels so good too, stuff as a business owner to have that clarity because
I
I've been in business 3 years. And
Yep.
so I wouldn't say I've had, you get it. You have ideas and you
Yeah.
want to do this and that. And you're like, but then honestly, you get caught up in the how too. And
Yeah.
we've really worked on like having these points of where you want to go and just kind of letting go of the how. And that's
Yep.
been, it just takes all the pressure off too, a little bit.
It
Like
does.
it just
Yeah.
has made it fun again and just like not as serious. And does that answer your question, Steph? I am so
Yeah.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
pumped, and I know even like some of the goals we had at the beginning, I think those are going to shift. Like
Yeah.
the back half
Naturally.
of our coaching, yeah, because they just don't exist anymore.
Right. Yeah, you've met that goal, and so now we need to
Yeah,
pivot and come up with new ones. What would you say is the biggest catalyst for, like, the clarity? Like, what did you have to change, or what did you start doing differently that you feel has helped you to get that clarity, if
yeah.
anything?
So I think yeah, so it's starts all the way back of, like, us even getting clear on what my goals were, like,
Okay.
solidifying the goal stuff, solidifying like, from a business point,
Yeah.
solidifying my ideal clients. And like
Okay.
you mentioned, I forgot about this of, like, personal life and how you wanna
Yeah.
feel, and I think as moms and business owners and everything on our plate, we can get it just feels like you're drowning or you're
Yeah.
overwhelmed or you just feel like crap, you
Yeah.
just don't feel good. And like, so even like with disengaging or not taking on clients, of just kind of always coming, like it all is intertwined in
Yeah.
such a way that I didn't think of it like that and
Yeah.
didn't realize it of like, okay, no, you don't want to feel this way. You don't want to feel that way. So like, we're making decisions that align
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
And then the other biggest piece stuff is just of like you've taught me too of just really having full belief of what you're manifesting or what you're wanting, just having complete belief that it will happen or it will
That it's
come. And
possible.
just
Yeah.
yeah. So it's almost like that and just like getting out of my own way. And it just
Yeah.
didn't click for me until like the coaching of like getting out of your own way is that just having the belief and working
Yeah.
towards it. So
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I mean, to
yeah.
speak to that first point that you made, it's like when we are constantly overwhelmed and we're constantly like, yeah, as a parent and a solopreneur and all the things, like it's just so easy
Yeah.
to get in your head and to feel like you're carrying this. What you're doing is you're carrying this like really heavy negative energy into what you're doing. And that's not
Yeah.
how you want to feel in your business, but that's what you're carrying into your calls with clients. That's what you're carrying into your email responses with clients. That's what you're carrying into whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, like your clients, current, new, potential clients, they pick up on that shit. And so if that's how you're constantly interacting with people in business, that's just not great energy that you're bringing
Yeah.
into
No.
your day-to-day work. And
No.
so
And
even
even
shift,
bringing that home then stuff too.
yeah,
Just
that
being
yes, that's true.
no patience and yeah,
Absolutely. I would agree with that. Yeah. So if we were to now shift focus to the last 6 weeks together, because you are
yeah.
just in a completely different place, what needs to change? Where do we need to pivot? What would you say for the last 6 weeks together? What do you want the focus to really where do we need to hone in on more for you?
That's a good question and thinking about it. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure I can say at this point. So I still work a corporate job too, Steph. And a
Yeah,
big
let's
piece of
allude to
that, yeah. So the big piece of that was wanting to step out of that and create more time for my business. And we had lofty goals. So when we started, like, I don't even remember if this was goals for like 6 to 8 months out. And now
yeah.
I've hit them. I'm going to be hitting them. I'm going to be stepping away from corporate and focusing on my business full time. So excited. And now I can feel though of somebody. So I think going forward stuff will definitely, and I've shared this, I think with you a little bit of like, I can feel in my mindset of like making that shift to being a full time entrepreneur and working for myself and not having that attachment to a corporate role or a corporate title or
Yeah.
some of the things that come up with that shift. Whereas like six
Yeah.
weeks ago, that wasn't even on my mind of like,
Yeah.
I might be facing that. And now that it's here and coming, I know when the timeline is, of like making that
Right.
shift. And
It's
yeah,
so
it'll
wild.
be it's crazy stuff. And
Yeah.
I just sit here and I cannot believe it because I know we had goals of like going part-time in corporate and
Mhm.
you had even challenged me at that point stuff when I told you of like, okay, here's where it's mapped out. And I'm a numbers person, obviously. So like I
Yeah.
had things mapped out and you were like, why are we even like, and I don't wanna say you do not say it with any attitude. That's just how I repeat it,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
just that pushback of like, why don't we think bigger than that? Like, why don't we just skip that step and just focus on this one? And like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that way,
Right.
Steph. So I'm like, that is so now we're there. Like we completely skipped all this stuff where I would
Yeah.
have been in my own way and now I'm not, and it's so cool, and now I'm like, "Okay, so now what?" Like, I've had this big goal in my head and what I've always wanted, and, like, we're there. So I'm like, "Okay, so
Yeah.
now where do I see," and I'm sure we'll get into that in our calls as it keeps going of, like, now where are the blocks? Where am I holding
Yeah.
myself up at
Yeah.
going forward? Does that answer that question, Steph? Like, that's what
Yeah,
I
it
think
does.
when
Yeah,
I
and
think of, like, "Okay, we've gone through this." Yeah.
right, right. I should say, I mean, in a typical coaching call, we wouldn't have to say this, but because we have
Yeah.
the call being recorded, she owns her own bookkeeping business, so it's Bookkeeping
Oh,
by
yeah.
Molly. She does also offers CFO services. So she offers just your traditional bookkeeping services if you are a business owner, but she also offers those CFO services. And yeah, so we in the beginning, it's so wild
It
how
is.
you were just so overwhelmed with everything, and I had just challenged you with, like, what if in an ideal world you could do part-time corporate America and part-time run your business? And in the beginning, you were so nervous at the thought of that. We had to do some identity work
Yeah.
because naturally, when we are in traditional jobs, like, it's a part of our identity. And so to release that part of our identity is very scary. But when you release that, then it's like you're also releasing those limiting beliefs that you're carrying around that identity. And
Yeah.
so, in doing that subconscious work, it was easier for her, I believe, to manifest an opportunity
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
potentially leave her traditional corporate job. But literally in the beginning, it was just like an idea that I threw out there. Like, in an
Yeah.
ideal world, where would you want to be? And in an ideal world, she would like to be full time in her business, but she was still thinking very much in the sense of like, but realistically, like, I'll have to do part time.
Yeah.
And then in her mind, it was like, maybe at best by summer I could be part time.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, my God,
You did,
that's
Steph.
so
You
long, like,
so did, Steph.
seriously? Like,
Yeah.
ugh,
It's
that's
crazy hearing it, Steph, because 'cause I'm, like, feeling those feelings again, and it's like night and day of,
yeah,
like, I can't even because
it's so
you said
wild.
and, we talked out very specific, like, numbers or numbers of clients, and, like, even
Yeah,
at Powerhouse, you'd said that to me, Steph, and I say this a lot, but I'm just like, you just plainly asked, like, "Well, what would it take to get there?" And
yeah,
I didn't even have an answer at that point because it never was in my head of, like, it's even a possibility, and
right.
I wish I could, like, give myself a hug from, like, 6 weeks ago and be like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's been really and I can't believe it's only been 6 coaching calls, like, it's wild.
Well, and it just goes to show, like, the testament of, like, when you,
Yeah,
like you said before, release the how and just trust, like, this is something I desire and it feels right. It feels aligned. It's heavy on my heart. So I'm just going to release the how of it because I know I have that complete unwavering faith that it's on its way to me. And then
yeah,
you continue doing your aligned work and things just work itself out magically to get us to that end point. And it's happened so much
yeah,
faster than either of us
wow.
could have
Yeah,
anticipated.
wow, yeah, Steph.
I
It's
remember,
really cool.
like, giving you some leeway and thinking like, "Okay, like, what if even by March, Molly? Like, I'll give you
Yeah,
March."
and I
And
didn't even at that point, Steph, I was like, "No, it's not gonna
yeah,
happen by then. It's just
right.
not."
You
And
were still pushing
so,
back, yeah.
I'm so yeah, and I think we'll, like, as we go in these last calls too, Steph, like, it's just yeah, we get to come at it from such a different place that I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Are there any areas that you feel you're consistently getting blocks coming up or you're consistently still struggling in mentally?
I still sometimes will feel that imposter syndrome.
For sure. Okay.
Absolutely, and I can recognize it a lot, and now even having my own lived experience stuff of, like, releasing a client and seeing that it opened the doors or opportunities are coming to me, like, there were still definitely times, like, it's not I know I'm excited right now and sharing all of these, like, rainbows and butterflies, but we've
Yeah.
absolutely, like, gone through of, like, "Okay, I haven't had leads coming in. I feel like
Yep.
this isn't going anywhere. I
Yep.
feel stuck still," and we work through that and we keep going, but having these experiences now too, even stuff of, like, getting through that and knowing, like,
Yeah.
I think I will be this didn't answer your question at all, but
No, it does.
as these come up now, stuff, I know, like, okay, you've felt this before, you've
Right.
had this, like, that that's not how it works, like,
Yeah.
it is continuing to come, so I feel that a little bit, and I know some blocks too I think I've also had these same, like, blocks and, like, beliefs around, like, time stuff, and always we've talked about this too, and I think we'll focus on it more too now that I'm going to have more time, but it's a block for me too of, like, thinking I need 2 hours to sit down and do something where, like, actually, if I just sat down and focused and did something and I think some of that mindset stuff comes back to being in a corporate world where, like, you
Yeah,
sit at your desk for 9 hours, you do have that time or, like, not always that you get 9 hours of work done in that 9
yeah,
hours, things come up, meetings, you're doing stuff with other people, but I can feel that now where I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to have a whole, like, bit of time," or, like, having to figure out as this has grown, like we've said, of being business owners and moms and having all these different schedules of, like, I very much sometimes still get myself in a corner of, like, "Okay, I can't do anything until Saturday when I have 8 hours to sit down and do it," where it's like, all week long, if you would have used half-hour pockets of time, like, that is 2, 3 hours. It all
right.
adds up. Like, that is something stuff I think too, I can feel with myself glaringly now more than ever too of, like, trying to, like, get through that of, like, you don't have to have and I'm preaching to the choir, I'm
Yeah,
sure. It's just I know for me, I feel that sometimes where I'm like, "Okay, not going to work on this now because 'cause I'll have more time on Saturday," where it's like, "No,
right.
use some of your time now."
Yeah. Yep, I totally agree. I think we all get in our head thinking like, "Yeah, I need at least 2 hours of uninterrupted time to get
Yeah.
this task done," when in reality, like, you could probably get it done in 20 minutes if you bricked your phone, if you
Yeah,
didn't
just
obey your
did it.
emails, if you just, like, honed in on just that task for 20 minutes, you could probably get more done than you anticipate. And I think a
Yeah.
strength of yours is you're really good I think from the outside looking in, you are really good at those boundaries when you need to be. Like, I have never had anybody in my circle who is so diligent about, like, when I say I'm breaking my phone, I'm breaking my phone, and that means I'm not responding to voice memos, I'm not checking notifications, I'm not doing this, like, I think you're really good with those boundaries because
Yep.
I know that's an area I continue to struggle in. I like checking Instagram. I like responding
Yeah.
to voice memos with girlfriends. Like, it can be really hard, and I'll have a half-hour window when I could probably get a lot done, but sometimes I'll self-sabotage, and I think we all do this
Yeah.
sometimes.
I still do that too, Steph.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. It's so easy to
Yeah.
be like, "Okay, I have this half hour. I can get 1 podcast episode recorded," which is huge for me,
Yeah.
but instead, for the first 15 minutes, I am scrolling on Instagram.
Yes.
I'm responding to voice memos, and it's like, you just took 15 minutes away from yourself, like,
Yourself.
and I think you're really good at being firm with those boundaries.
Thank you. That's a
Yeah,
work in progress too, Steph. That is
yeah,
definitely a work and well, and I again, like I can feel because I've done it this week too of like, oh, I'm going to have Saturday or I'm gonna have X day
yeah,
or whatever to do stuff. But I did just do it the other day before we had some family stuff going down. I sat down and I figured out how to send an email in Flowdesk. I'm so proud of that.
awesome.
And I
Oh,
watched a YouTube video, Steph, and like
yeah,
you get it. You have to figure this stuff out, but that is something
mhm,
I'm not great at this, but I was like, "Okay, I have half hour before we have other things to go, like, this won't take that long, like, you can
right,
go ahead and sit down and do this, like, don't wait for 2 days to do it, just do it now," and, like, I feel like there was struggle with that within myself of, like, wait to do it," so, like,
yeah.
I know you asked of, like, what to work on as we go forward, and, like, I think that'll be a piece of it, like, the corporate identity and then, like, also how to, like, figure out how to manage time again all over a little bit too
Yeah, no,
with
that's a
that.
good point. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think there's a sense of freedom that comes with, like, when we leave more of a, like, structured job, we
Yeah.
think like, "Oh, I finally got this freedom of time, freedom of schedule, freedom of money potentially," and then
Yeah.
we do sometimes self-sabotage that freedom by filling it with, I'm just gonna
Other
say, like,
things.
sometimes nonsense, like,
Yeah.
you made that choice to respond to voice memos for the last 20 minutes when in reality you could have put your phone on silent and cleaned
Yeah.
out emails or whatever needs to be
Yeah.
done.
Or
So
on
I
the so I was you're even too, Steph, when we're thinking of this, like, even the other way of, like, not always feeling like I have to be on or working
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
because just up to this point, that hasn't quite been the case just because I didn't have
Yeah.
that freedom or capacity,
Yeah.
as much, but because I was asking Chris the other day, I was like, "Do you think people when they don't have these types of traditional jobs?" Because that's all I've ever known. I've only
Right.
known that for 15 plus years.
Yep.
And I was like, "Do you think they still get Sunday scaries?" And he was like and this was a good point, I just didn't think of it that way of like, probably not because you don't have Sundays anymore. Like,
Right.
you might
Right.
still spend your whole Sunday working. Like, your Sunday might now feel like Friday or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably a good thing to be aware of too and work on as I move into that transition as
Yeah.
well."
Absolutely. That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't had Sunday night blues in I don't know,
That's
since
so
I
cool.
was at the school job. I mean, it's been at least 4
Yeah,
years, and so I
that is so cool.
just
Yeah, but
don't.
I know it's tough too, like, so the same thing, like, you're working non-traditional hours too, and I think that is something I could see so we've discussed a lot too of, like, my personality is very much sometimes all or nothing, like, I live in the extremes. I'm either
Okay,
doing, like, nothing or, like, not stopping, so I
sure.
think that'll be a good thing too as we move forward to, like,
Boundaries.
work through. Yeah,
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
could see myself doing that of, like, no, working every day or and
Mhm.
again, like I said, I'm a bookkeeper, there are no bookkeeping emergencies
Yep.
typically, like,
Yeah.
things it doesn't have to be. I know too, I even took, like, email off my phone for a while because I would
Yep.
just constantly be refreshing it, and I'm like, "For
Yeah,
what?" Like,
same.
even if an email comes through, like, nothing is that
Right.
it can wait type of you know what
Yep,
I mean? So, like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
as
I
we keep
agree.
going.
I
Yeah,
have the email app on my phone, but I don't have notifications turned on for it. Same with Snapchat, same with Instagram. These apps are all on my phone, but I don't have notifications turned on for any of them
yeah,
because I I don't need that
yeah,
reminder. So I
no,
think that's healthy boundaries. I agree, and I think what might be a good direction to go that we haven't really touched on yet is your human design type, because when
right.
I dove into my human design type with my business coach, with Julia Martin, it was very validating. It really opened my eyes to, like, my ideal hours, like, what I thrive under, and it validated that, like, yeah, this is when I feel like I'm performing my best work, is when I don't do more than X amount of hours in a day, and that
Yeah,
was really validated by my human design type, among other things. But what I truly believe about your human design type is because it's based on, astrology and all of that, it's truly soul aligned decisions, because it's not like it's not just like your personality type, it's so much more than that. It's based on the exact location where you were born, at the exact time you were born, date, year, all the things, and where the stars were at, where the planets aligned during that exact time of that exact day of that exact year. And because of all of that, it gives you these, I don't even know what to call them because I'm not like an expert in it, but like it gives you
yeah,
information about yourself. And what I've just learned from implementing it into my own business is implementing my human design type has helped me make more soul aligned decisions in my
yeah.
business, and it just feels much more aligned and it just sits well with me. So maybe diving into that would be helpful for you too.
I need to, Steph, and I should find it. I did a couple years ago. I didn't do as deep of a dive, but I did have
Sure.
somebody help me with my it's funny you bring that up, Steph, because after Powerhouse, you know, our friend Lisa that we had met there, to be
Yeah.
honest, I was like it's so funny you bring this up because I was texting her. I've stayed in touch with her a little bit and she's coming
Awesome.
back to Powerhouse. Yeah, we'll have to see her. But when I was debating whether or not to move forward with coaching with you, Steph, I mean, honestly, because I also was like feeling those feelings in my
Yeah.
ego and stuff. And she suggested, Steph, she said, download this app, put your information in, and she
Yep.
said, "I think that'll also bring you clarity on why you're struggling so much with this decision." And I did do that, and I don't even remember what it was now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just funny you bring that up because it did bring me a lot of, like, peace. I was like,
It can.
why am I getting in my own way? Like, I know I wanna do
Right.
this. I knew it from the day we had lunch together,
Yeah.
like, being yeah, so it's funny you say that because she did tell me to look into that too. So I think that would be a
Yeah. We
good
can
idea
spend a
too.
session doing that and just diving a little bit more. I mean, like I said, I'm not a
Yeah.
human design expert or coach, but I can at least give you resources to help you dive more
Yeah.
deeply into it.
Okay.
Even just like knowing what certain parts of your human design type means, I think is very validating. And then
Yeah.
there's people you can go to if you want more in-depth information on it that I can point you to. But we'll definitely
Okay.
spend a session doing that. I think that would be helpful for you. And then what I'm hearing you say in terms of like other areas of focus is those boundaries, what that is going to look and feel like specifically for your business. And I think moving forward, you've worked through so many limiting beliefs, but naturally, as we work through some harder or more deeply ingrained ones, sometimes pop up. And so
Yeah.
we'll do some talking through some questions to see like what other ones maybe are coming up for you as
Well,
you.
and I know we chatted once too, Steph, about, like, procrastination, and I know we
True,
didn't
yeah.
dive into that as deeply, but maybe that would be a good one too. And
Okay.
I don't know
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, now because, you know, I've always it's been like, "Oh, I don't have time," which isn't true. it just
Yeah,
isn't
there's
true.
no
So I'm
yeah,
curious to see too, even as I've moved out of corporate, if those same habits, just like you just said,
yep,
like if they're ingrained deeper, if they're stemming from something else,
mhm.
might just be a good one to keep. I wrote it down to be on our radar
Yeah,
too, a little
yeah.
bit, but
'Cause I just think
oh,
in the corporate world, it's easy to like, we think Big Brother is always watching over us, so we
yeah,
don't let ourselves procrastinate, but
no,
when that, like, factor is taken out, like, when you're in your own business and it's you looking over yourself, like, you don't have
yeah,
that, and so it
yeah,
can just be so easy to procrastinate and wait till the
yeah,
last minute and okay. Yeah, I feel like that gives me clarity where we're gonna go from here. Molly, before we wrap up, is there anything that you feel if there is somebody out there listening who is still in corporate or traditional job who or maybe they're not. Maybe they are just trying to build up a business, but they're just in those beginning stages. So they could be either or, but
yeah,
they're like they don't know that they need coaching just like when I met you at Powerhouse and you didn't know you needed it.
yeah.
What's some nuggets of information that you would want to share with somebody who doesn't even know that they need coaching?
That's a good question, Steph. So if I was talking to somebody about like even your coaching program stuff, it
Yeah,
just
yep.
I would share, just like you said, like I didn't even know I needed it, but knowing or having somebody else in your circle or life that are asking these types of questions,
Mhm.
like, and to nobody's fault of their own, they just weren't question stuff. Like if I was talking to somebody and we were having this, I would be asking, like, is somebody asking you these types of questions?
Right.
When your ego is getting in the way or you're feeling the self-doubt or like, we're having conversations about our business and like you picked up on it right away, Steph, of like where my limiting beliefs were, where I was playing small or thinking too small or not allowing myself to see just that it's so possible. So it would be like if you're not being asked those questions, if you're not like I can just only speak to myself of how
Yeah.
much better and more clear I feel as a business owner, as a
Yeah.
wife and mom, like just the boundaries and just being more confident. Like if you
Yeah.
were like if somebody listening is still kind of feeling some of those like feelings of like not even just being clear, but not confident, not
Mhm.
on where they're wanting to go or where they're lacking and stuff. Like that's what I would say. Like those are
Yeah.
you're having
Love
those
it.
feelings and nudges stuff. Yeah, because
Yeah.
even I was feeling these things and I was like, I don't know what kind of coach I need. I didn't even know I needed a coach. But then I was
No,
like,
you didn't.
no, I had no idea. And now I'm like, I can't like I should have done it sooner. I
Mm.
absolutely should have done it sooner. Like
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
just yeah, to have a clear set and it's so much the mindset stuff, but, like and I don't even think we dove into it even at all or discussed even just, like, the action items, the action
Mhm.
steps of just, like,
Mhm.
could I do these things on my own, Steph? I mean, maybe, but would I have? No, because I
Right.
don't think I would have been asking myself those questions or, like I know obviously I wasn't truly believing in the
Yeah.
outcomes, like
Yeah.
that blind faith. So, that's what I
Right.
would kinda say, Steph, of just if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "I have these feelings, I feel this way," like,
Yeah.
it's kind of a no-brainer then to me, like, I would this has been the best investment of my entire business, so,
I
thus
appreciate
far.
you saying that. That's so
Yeah, it's
powerful
really
coming
cool
from
stuff.
you.
I feel
No,
kinda, like,
I
cheesy saying it, but I'm like, I would
no.
not I just can't, Steph, I just cannot
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm just so grateful for it all. It's really cool and really fun.
I appreciate you saying that, and I think that's
Yeah.
what's the hard part is about being a mindset coach is, like, I
Yeah.
would say 90% of my clients didn't even know they needed coaching, so I haven't a lot of my clients have not, like, organically sought me out, it's been more of a, like, I met them, and through conversation after meeting them,
Yeah.
they realized, like, "I think I actually could benefit from working with you?" It's like a question,
Yeah.
like, "Can
It
I?" But,
is.
because they
It
don't
is.
know that they even
It
need it,
is.
and
Yeah.
so I just put that out there because we don't always know that our mindset is poor or shitty or
Yeah.
lacking, you know? You don't
Yeah.
always know it until someone points it out to you. And
Yeah.
so you're not if that sounds like you, like you're a part of the majority.
Yeah.
Most people don't know they need to work on their mindset, I feel.
No. And stuff too, I was going to say if anyone, like, listens to this and they have questions and, like, they actually wanna talk, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, like, I'm happy. I sleuthed you a little bit too before I made the investment, and I asked some of your
Yeah.
prior coaching clients, and they
Yep.
because 'cause I'm just that's just
Yep.
the way I am too of, like and
Same.
I don't blame anybody, and, like, that's what I
No.
would say too of, like, seek people out, read I mean,
Yep.
obviously, there's not reviews or anything yet, but, like, I spoke to some of your other I don't even know if
As
you
you
know that, but I
should. You
spoke
should
to
have.
other people too and asked
Good.
my questions and stuff too, and
Yep.
I'm an open book and I would be honest.
Yep.
I mean, I think I've been pretty honest this whole podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm open to that stuff too. If somebody,
Yep. I
I
do
like to
the
talk. So,
I've done the same thing. Every coach I've invested in, I have talked to
yeah.
previous investors and been like, was this worth your time, energy, and money?
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a hell no. So
Yeah.
those reactions and responses from other people is a huge piece in me making that decision as well. So
Y
I think that's just when you know that your time and money and energy is valuable, like you're not just going to throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. Like
yeah.
you just need to know that it's going to. So
Yeah, and I think I would've invested anyway, Steph, I, like, already knew
sure,
it, but it's, again,
sure.
my ego and just
So
needing reassurance and, like,
yep,
yeah, so
totally.
I totally get that too.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being open to me
Yes.
recording this. I appreciate you being open to me like leaking this out to
Yeah, leak
people.
it, yeah,
Mm,
you
it's
bet,
going to
of
be a
course.
powerful one. I've never done it before, and I'm grateful you got to be my first.
I'm so excited too, Steph. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys, if any of this resonated with you, if you see yourself in Molly, if you're having things mirrored back to you that you're like, holy shit, that's me, you can DM Molly. You can get her testimony straight from her if you'd like. And you can also DM me if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Until next time,
Thanks,
I hope you guys
Steph.
have a
See
great
you
week.
next week.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Molly.
Bye, Steph.